News.
Finance Minister Al-Aziz Fayed is representing President of the Republic Abdelmajid Tebboune at the Forum BRICS Outreach Plus as part of the 15th session of BRICS Summit in Johannesburg. And the Speaker of the National People's Assembly, Ibrahim Boughali, has discussed with his Iranian counterpart, Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf, bilateral cooperation and several current issues as part of his official visit to Iran. And as the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, has not excluded launching a possible military intervention in Niger, the country's new leaders have spoken out in favor of a national dialogue. And those were the major developments. Now, the full news edition. Good afternoon. President of the Republic Abdelmajid Tebboune has expressed his condolences to the family of General Rashid Harat, Director General of the Security of Communications and Telecommunication at the Presidency of the Republic, who died in a car accident. Prime Minister Ayman bin Abdulrahman also expressed his sincere condolences to the family of General Rashid Harat. The Speaker of the National People's Assembly, Ibrahim Boughali, has discussed with his Iranian counterpart, Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf, bilateral cooperation and several current issues as part of his official visit to the Islamic Republic of Iran. Mr. Boughali hailed the bilateral relations linking the two countries, notably in the economic sector, expressing the Algerian president's will to diversify companies and make favorable environment for business. The two sides also tackled the current issues in notably Algeria's position in favor of just causes, notably the Palestinian and Sahrawi cause. For his part, Mr. Ghalibaf hailed the visit of the Algerian official, expressing his will to boost cooperation with Algeria, shed a light on the importance of coordination between the two countries and between the ACO member countries. Mr. Boughali visited yesterday, Sunday, the headquarters of the General Secretariat of the Parliamentary Union of Member States of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation in his capacity as acting president of the Union. Mr. Boughali seized the opportunity to deplore the recent burnings of the Holy Quran and tackled with his counterpart ways and means to find a solution to the crises in the Muslim nations. And Finance Minister Al-Aziz Fayed is representing President of the Republic Abdelmajid Tebboune at the Forum BRICS Outreach Plus as part of the 15th session of BRICS Summit in Johannesburg. Before heading to Johannesburg, the Finance Minister hailed the launching of a direct route between Algiers and Johannesburg, especially that it coincides with his participation in the BRICS Summit in his capacity as representative of the President of the Republic.
يتزامن هذا التدشين الرسمي للخط الجوي مع إفريقيا الجنوبية مع مشاركتي كممثل شخصي للسيد رئيس الجمهورية في منتدى البريكس الذي يندرج في إطار الدورة 15 لقمة البريكس المنعقدة في مدينة جوهانسبورغ في جنوب إفريقيا من 21 إلى 24 أوت. إن مشاركة الجزائر في هذا المنتدى تعكس الاهتمام الكبير الأعلى للسلطات في المساهمة في التفكير في تعزيز التعددية العادلة والمنصفة من أجل إصلاح الحوكمة العالمية وإيجاد الحلول للأزمات المتعددة الأبعاد.
The finance minister said, quote, the official launch of the direct route between Algeria and South Africa coincides with my participation as personal representative of the President of the Republic to the BRICS Forum, which comes as part of the 15th edition of the BRICS Summit held in Johannesburg in South Africa between the 21st and 24th of August. Algeria's participation to this forum reflects the importance granted by the authorities to enhance the equal and fair pluralism, to fix the world governance and find solutions to multi-dimensional crises. You're still listening to Radio Algeria International. The Algerian airline company Air Algérie has inaugurated its first direct route between Algiers and Johannesburg at the international airport Houari Boumediene. In a statement to the press, Transport Minister Youssef Sharfa said that the new direct route will contribute to the reinforcement and cooperation between Algeria and South Africa, notably in the field of economy, highlighting that it will constitute an important additional milestone in the development process of air transport in Algeria. The direct route will enhance Algeria's opening on African countries in line with the instructions of President of the Republic Abdelmadjid Tebboune. Mr. Sharfa recalled the direct flights launched recently with different world cities, stressing that the transport sector will open new lines. And for his part, the representative of South Africa's ambassador to Algiers said the launching of direct flights between Algiers and Johannesburg will boost relations between the two countries and relaunch economic cooperation. The CEO of Air Algérie said the direct route between Algiers and Johannesburg comes as part of the instructions of the President of the Republic aimed at reinforcing the international network of Air Algérie. The leaders of the member countries of the so-called BRICS group, bringing together Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, will be meeting tomorrow, Tuesday in Johannesburg as part of a summit meeting designated or designed to examine political and economic issues. South Africa confirmed last month the participation of the heads of state of the 5 emerging economies, namely President Luiz Ignacio Lula da Silva of Brazil, Chinese President Xi Jinping, and the host country's President Cyril Ramaphosa. India will be represented by its Prime Minister, whereas Russia will be represented by its Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov. The extension of the BRICS group to include new members will be high on the agenda of the summit, meeting place under the theme The BRICS and Africa. And in this respect, South Africa affirmed last month that about 40 countries, including Saudi Arabia, Argentina, Egypt, and Ethiopia, had already applied to adhere to the BRICS, largely by the 5 developing countries, as a counterweight to the world's economic system. In a TV broadcast speech to the nation 2 days ago, South Africa's President Ramaphosa affirmed that his country, which has been committed to a non-alignment policy, would not agree to be driven into a competition between the world powers. He recalled that his country had resisted pressures aimed at aligning South Africa on one of the world's powers or the other, or on the influential blocs of the nation. It's worth noting that the BRICS said that advocates a multipolar and a balanced economic and political world generates 1/4 of the world wealth. You're still listening to Radio Algeria International, and as the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, has not excluded launching a possible military intervention in Niger, the country's new leaders have spoken out in favor of a national dialogue. In a recent TV broadcast speech to the nation, General Abdurrahman Tiani announced the launching of a national dialogue and revealed a first schedule of transition, which he assured would not exceed 3 years. Earlier, he met with the members of a delegation of the ECOWAS led by Nigeria's former president Abdulsalami Abubakar on a new mission to try and defuse the crisis in Niger. The country's new leader, General Tiani, said there were undoubtedly hope that the visit paid by the ECOWAS delegation would help find a way of reaching a settlement of the difficult crisis besetting Niger. The ECOWAS delegation members' visit took place amid protests staged in the capital Niamey to press for the lifting of sanctions imposed by the regional organization. You're still listening to Radio Algeria International, and at the end of a meeting held 2 days ago in Accra, Ghana, by the ECOWAS Army Chiefs of Staff, the organization's commissioner to the political affairs, Abdel Fatou Moussa, reiterated that the organization was ready to settle the crisis peacefully, but only if Niger's new leaders agreed on such an initiative. The organization's commissioner said a possible intervention in Niger was still an option considered by the ECOWAS leaders, who have already set the date for its launching. He argued that the ECOWAS Army Chiefs meeting in Accra had agreed on the strategic objectives and the necessary equipment, and reiterated the commitments of the organization's leaders to such a potential intervention. You're still listening to Radio Algeria International. President of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, has reiterated his country's continuing support to the Palestinian or to the Palestinian and Sahrawi people's struggle, and stressed the necessity to abide by the principle of sovereignty of all the countries and peoples. Addressing a meeting devoted to his country's foreign policy on the eve of the 15th summit meeting of the BRICS group, President Ramaphosa declared that South Africa, as a non-aligned country, supports the struggle of the oppressed and marginalized peoples in all parts of the country or the world. He reiterated that the South Africans were aware of the freedom they recovered and the international support they enjoyed had made of their support to those facing occupation and segregation an imperative. And the Islamic Cooperation Organization has reiterated its rejection of any decision aimed at altering the geographic and demographic characters of occupied Jerusalem. Evoking the 54th anniversary of the attempt by the Israeli occupying forces to set the Al-Aqsa Mosque esplanade, the said event was commemorated at a time when an escalation is going on in the occupied Palestinian territories. You're still listening to Radio Algeria International, and to Latin America now. In Ecuador, Luisa Gonzalez has come first in the first round of the presidential election with 33%. The second round of elections will take place on October 15. Let's know that more than 13.4 million voters went yesterday to the polls in Ecuador as part of early presidential elections. And in Guatemala, Bernardo Arevalo has won the second round of presidential elections following a campaign marked by promises to fight corruption. Bernardo Arevalo, son of the first president democratically elected in Guatemala, Juan José Arevalo, promised to follow the steps of his father to improve education, combat violence, and fight corruption. 14 hours 42 minutes Algiers time. You're still listening to Radio Algeria International, and time now for the headlines. Finance Minister Aziz Fayed is representing President of the Republic Abdelmajid Tebboune at the Forum BRICS Outreach Plus as part of the 15th session of BRICS Summit in Johannesburg. And the Speaker of the National People's Assembly, Ibrahim Boghali, has discussed with his Iranian counterpart, Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf, bilateral cooperation and several current issues as part of his official visit to the Islamic Republic of Iran. And as the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, has not excluded launching a possible military intervention in Niger, the country's new leaders have spoken out in favor of national dialogue.
Hi and welcome to our weekly program devoted to Algerian economic news. First in the news, the Minister of Interior, Local Assemblies and Country Planning, Brahim Merad, has said in the province of Khenchela that the construction of the railway line between the towns of Khenchela and Ain al-Bida Bouaghi will help boost the region's development. On the second day of his working visit to the province of Khenchela, Brahim Merad underlined during an inspection of the progress of work on this 50-kilometer railway line that this project will make the province of Khenchela an important economic hub. The Minister of Energy and Mines, Mohamed Arkab, has received the Qatari ambassador to Algiers, Abdulaziz Ali El Naama, with whom he discussed ways of developing bilateral cooperation in various areas of the sector, according to a press release from the ministry. The talks between the two parties focused on ways to strengthen bilateral cooperation relations described as excellent in the field of energy and mining. On this occasion, the two parties explored future opportunities and prospects for investment in structural projects in Algeria, notably in the manufacturing and petrochemical industries. The Director General of the Algerian Investment Promotion Agency, API, Omar Rekesh, has received a delegation from the Chinese company China Civil Engineering Construction Corporation Ltd, led by its Vice President Wang Jinzhong, to discuss the prospects for the company's activities in Algeria, according to a press release from the agency. The meeting provided an opportunity to review the company's contribution and the public facilities projects it has carried out in recent years, the document states. It was also an opportunity to examine and discuss the prospects for the company's activity in Algeria through its investment projects. In more Algerian economic news, the Minister of Industry and Pharmaceutical Production, Ali Aoun, has stressed in Sidi Bel Abbas the need to relaunch the National Electronic Industries Company, ENI, to enable it to reestablish itself on the national market. During an unannounced visit to ENI in Sidi Bel Abbas, the Minister underlined in a statement to APS that efforts must be coordinated between the company's various management executives in order to reorganize it and ensure more efficient management so as to enhance the activities of its various production units capable of bringing added value to the Algerian market. The Minister of Finance, Laziz Fayed, has received the Ambassador of the People's Republic of China to Algiers, Li Jiang, with whom he discussed bilateral economic and financial cooperation and ways of strengthening it, the ministry said in a press release. The meeting held at the ministry headquarters provided an opportunity to review the state of bilateral economic and financial relations, as well as ways and means of consolidating them further, according to the same source. The discussions highlighted the excellence of the historic bilateral relationship and the strategic partnership between the two countries. The Minister of Finance, Laziz Fayed, has underlined the need to complete the digitization program for the national administration of the national estate before the end of September, stressing the importance of this program in optimizing operations and improving the quality of land services, says a press release from the ministry. The minister was making an unannounced visit to the headquarters of the Land Registry of Said Hamdin in Algiers, which includes the land registries of Bouzeri'a, and Bir Murad Rais. And to wrap it up, the Algerian Association for the Promotion of Tourism and Crafts is planning a number of projects to help promote local tourism and develop social tourism for the benefit of the Algerian community settled abroad, its president Rashid Bouawa announced in Iran. The association intends to carry out 4 national projects to promote local tourism, publicize craft products, and contribute to the development of social tourism aimed at families and the Algerian community settled abroad, he told APS on the sidelines of the installation ceremony of Derki Sidi Mohamed, Western Regional Coordinator, and Mustafa bin Ali as chairman of the association's National Social Tourism Commission. And with this, we come to the end of our weekly program devoted to Algerian economic news. Goodbye.
The picturesque city of Ghardaia is located in the Ghardaia province of Algeria and is situated approximately 370 miles outside of Algiers. It is a historical city that was established in the 11th century. Its structures and buildings have survived for centuries, and the city has remained true to its ancient cultures and traditions. maintaining its uniqueness through urban planning. Thus, the Ghadeia province was recognized in 1982 on the UNESCO World Heritage List. The city is surrounded by the Sahara Desert, the Wadi Mzab and the Mzab Valley. Locals in Ghadeia still practice traditional agricultural farming to earn a living. The city boasts an estimated 60,000 palm trees, on which locals are dependent for dates. No trees are cut down in the city as locals believe they are living forms. So wood is only used for roofing and other crafts once a tree has died. This oasis has also been popular trading post for centuries, with nomads and travelers moving through the city. But there is one craft that the city is famous for, and that is carpet making. They weave their unique carpets from goat hair, and their patterns are geometric and simple, but absolute masterpieces. Generally, the carpets are black and white, but with the annual Ghadeia Carpet Festival each year, it has become a contest amongst the best carpet weavers. Weavers from across Algeria attend the Ghadeia Festival each year to enter into competitions to find out who is the best weaver of the year and display the great variety of carpets to the thousands of visitors who attend the festival each year. Rugs and clothes of all sizes are available for purchase and make wonderful gifts and souvenirs to take home. The festival is filled with color and rhythm as Qarqabu bands fill the air with music and dance. Processions entertain the crowds, and the fragrance of traditional meals lure hungry visitors. The city of El Qala is known for red coral, or let's say red gold. My colleague Mohammed Barzwan will tell you more.
Despite the fact that man had been making use of it for hundreds of years, when scholars eventually decided it was time to classify the red coral from the Mediterranean, there was a lot of argument as to whether or not it was a vegetable or a mineral. Its striking color has caused it to be used for a variety of purposes, including that of ornamentation, art, medicine, and money. Today, it is mainly used for jewelry, and it is viewed as being so precious that it has been dubbed red gold. It was not until the 18th century that scientists came to understand that coral was the skeleton remains of a living organism. Initially, many thought that coral was a form of plant, a sort of underwater tree, if you will, and that the small, brightly colored creatures known as polyps that created it were flowers. These polyps live in colonies and they secrete calcareous deposits known as coral in an effort to protect themselves. Their coral branches can reach a length of 10 to 10 inches and are usually one color, though they may exhibit several different shades of that color. Red coral may be formed on any solid surface up to a depth of 800 feet given the right circumstances. Preferably, the seawater needs to be calm, unpolluted, warm, and have a fairly high level of salinity. Thus, it is generally only found in the waters of the Mediterranean, and countries such as Algeria can benefit greatly from reaping its beautiful bounty. It can also be found off the coast of a variety of other countries such as Albania, France, Greece, Italy, Morocco, Spain, Tunisia, and Yugoslavia. There are also instances of red coral growing in the Atlantic off Cape Verde. Coral has long been prized by humankind for its incredible beauty and rarity. Red coral even more so. It has been used decoratively by kings and pharaohs, treasured as priceless family heirlooms, and looked upon as a source of a cure for all sorts of ailments. However, the exceptional value of this brightly colored byproduct of the sea has caused some to exploit coral deposits to the point of destroying the creatures that create it. Pollution has also become a serious cause for concern. In Algeria, where precious coral is known to grow, the authorities protect the delicate creatures within and encourage colonies to allow for sustainable and continuous harvest of this red gold.
And now it is time for a word about the Algerian history. Let's visit today the city of Mila. Many countries around the world have ancient cities that are known not for their entertainment qualities or activities, but because they have become significant as part of their heritage and a noteworthy historical site. For Algeria, Mila is just such a town. Mila has a rich and fascinating history, which is rarely explored. Its ability to remain out of the spotlight for many years has led to the preservation of most of its buildings, fortifications, and homes. Originally known as Milium, the town of Mila formed part of the extensive Roman Empire. The Romans used Mila as a military post, which they have named Colonial Sarnesis Milevitana. Inscriptions of these names are still visible throughout the town today and are considered to be inscriptions of important historical value. Four towns were bound together during this time and were known as the Four Colonies. This confederation included Melevum, Kolo, Rusicada, and Sirta. The fortification wall that surrounds the town was added by Emperor Justinian in the 6th century, after which Mila gained fame for the councils that were held in the city and legendary men who attended. The most significant councils that were held here took place in 402 and 416, It is not exactly certain when Mila was finally taken over by the Umayyad Arabs, but it is suggested that this turning point in the history of the town took place between the years 675 to 682. It later came under the rule of the French,